Hello and welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, we will show how to write your data members from your class to a file. Now, I did this because I needed to write a project that a program which I made produced. So I needed a way to write these projects, restore them, load and save, basically. And so in this tutorial, I did a little edit on that class, just tried to make it a little bit simpler for the purposes of this tutorial, and we will go over it. Now, I want to show you how it works, but before, let me show you the project header file and show you the data member it has, data members and functions. All right, so now these are our data members right there, and we have a file name, a string to the file that we will write and read from, a version to the software, the name of the creator, the name of the project, and then an stream to the file that we will write and read from, a long created, which is a Unix timestamp, and a long last update, a Unix timestamp that we will use to write out when we edited the file last, and then a vector of another class that we have called companies or company. And in this class, we want to be able to save the project, save the companies, and restore them when someone loads up the file, and be able to have everything exactly as it is. Now we have three functions here and a fourth function there. These are for debugging. Basically, they generate random companies, fill them up, fill up the vector, and just fill up the vector. Now we have three constructors here. First one is basically for a new project. Second one is to load up a project where you will open the file uh, and then load it directly from the constructor. Third one is basically the same thing as the first one, except you don't pass the version and it doesn't load up the like directly, and you will need to call load yourself from the other instance you're calling that project. All right, so now we have a class called a method called close the file, which closes the file there. We have the print, which prints up the this class. We have our main champs there, the save and the load, and then we have another little function that adds a company to the vector, and then we have the generate project, which we said is a debugging function, and then we have these two which transfer the Unix timestamps to a readable human format. All right, so let's go over company. And company doesn't include much. It includes a name, a long for money, fans, reputation, an integer of month and year. And then it has two constructors. The first constructor is to use as a way to actually create a new company. And then the second constructor has a pointer basically to a file, so that when we actually save our company, and sorry, when we want to load our company, we want to use this constructor, send out the file, let it do its thing, add this company to our vector in the projects, and then go on onto the vector by company by one company, passing on this pointer for them to read from. Then we have a print, works same as the one in project does, prints out the company, and then we have our two main functions there, save and load. They both use pointers to read from the file that is already open or write to the file that is already open. All right, so let's see, let's see this thing in work. All right, now before we get into it and before we run it, we have this first line. We construct a new project and add everything in the constructor. Then we generate it for the purposes of debugging. Then we save it and print it in order for us to compare it with the other one where we load it up. And before that, we just make sure that the file is closed, so we close it. Okay, let's run it and see if it works. All right, so let's see how many companies it generated. It added 10 companies, and we have the count 10. The version is 100, the creator name is there, the project name is there, and then there are the dates. And here is our loaded file, which looks identical. So we have loaded up the project file, probably. Pro, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, let's keep on. So we can also see that the companies have been loaded. I'm not going to say the word again. They're loaded fine. Uh, yeah, all of them are loaded fine. All the data are accurate. All three of them, and we're good there. All right. So now let's go ahead and get into the save and load. Let's talk about save and load. All right. Now, we have save right in here. And first line in save is we check if the file is open, because if it's not, then it's of no use to us. So we return false, we don't do anything else. But if it is, we first of all get the timestamp for the current time, plug it into last update, and then write the version number as the first thing, because when you're actually making this, I don't actually use the version number in this little thing there, but when you're actually using it, you will want to check if the file was made from an older version of your software, uh, so that you could work with it, and if the version is if the version that the user is using is opening a file created by a newer version of the software, then you might want to restrain from opening it, because you've probably added some new stuff that the older software won't be able to use or read properly. Damn it, I said it again. Anyway, the string project name. Now, it gets kind of tricky here, because you have to write characters, a bunch of characters. So first of all, you get the length of that string, and then you write up the string length before you actually write the string itself, because when you're reading it, you want to know where to start and where to stop. And that's what we're doing here. We take it and then we write it. Now, in here and in here, what we do is we give out the size of the data member. So this is the size of an integer. This is the size of an unsigned long. And as you can see, all of them has been casted as a character pointer, because write needs it, and that's fine. That's fine for us. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to get tricky with doubles and floats, because I honestly haven't tested it. But I can see where it might get a little bit problematic with them. Now, after you wrote out the string length, you write the names, characters, and the size of a character multiplied by the string length. All right. Now the same thing for the creator name. And it does basically the same thing. You get the string length, you write the string length above the string itself, and then you write the string. And now this is where it gets trickier, sort of, where you have to write the vector. Now, in order for you to write the vector, as we've seen before, you'll have to use the pointers to the file. Kind of simple, but before you actually read that vector, you want to write how long the vector is, so that when you're reading, you know where to start and where to stop. Same thing with the strings. So you first of all start up and write that. You write how long is the vector. And then you go onto the vector, you iterate through the vector, calling every class in there, calling the save function underneath it, and pointing to the file. And then let's jump into company and see quickly how it does. It does basically the same thing. It has a string, so it writes a string first. It then writes the couple of longs there, money, fans, reputation. Then writes the integer months and year. Save vector. No, ignore that because I used to have vector. Just removed it. And yeah, if you have a vector in the other class, that would work the same way, where it will iterate through that vector, writing it, but first, before writing it, writing how long is that vector. And yeah, that's basically how it works. So now, let's go back into project. When we're done writing up the vector, we want to write the simple details such as the creation date and the last update date. Now, let's go into the load function, does the same thing, checks up if the file is open or not. Not open, return false. We don't want to do anything with it. We want nothing to do with your file. Okay, now we just declare new variables there, the string length and the vector length, which will basically work like these two, kinda. So first of all, we take a read, and we read for the version, because you'll have to go the same way you went with your save. If you have saved the creation date, for example, before the version, you'll have to read that first. Now, it's always better to actually write out the version first, because then it's the first thing you read, and you could in here do a little comparison, see if that version is actually compatible with your current software version, if it's newer or older or whatever. Then you read the project name. Now, reading the project, you'll first have to read how long is the project, because you'll have to declare a character string. Now, a character pointer. Now, I tried writing a string, and that doesn't work because it has to get a character pointer just like we did there. But since we are using a string, we can simply use a character pointer, which is basically like an array, an expanded array that we could also use as a string, and we could represent it as a string. So we read that, and when we're done reading that, we paste it into name, which we read earlier. All right. Okay. So then we go ahead and read the creator name, same thing up there, and now the vector. We first read the vector length. Don't worry about the print. And then we iterate through that using the vector length. All right. So what you want to do here is now I'm just going to go through this example and say, I want to add this company to that vector, so I'm going to use the add company function, and I'm going to use a new company there. I'm going to construct a new company from that file, pass in a pointer to that file, and let the company class handle it. And then we read the creation date and the last update. Now, I would like to mention that this function, or sorry, this method, I originally read on the internet. If I'm not mistaken, it was on Stack Overflow. I had to edit a couple things in it just so that it suits everything I need here. Um, and it worked great. I'm not sure, I don't remember the name of the person who made it, but really, thank you. All right, and that's that. So I'll leave this example code down there. You can go ahead and download it. Uh, I hope you all learned something, and I hope I helped you through it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And have a good day.